made it that when we made this one, we couldn't change the XR one at all. So this is the first PCB we made. Typically, you do 2 iterations after that one.
Urho, I think it's
okay.
Now. Hey, see you later.
Great, see you.
Yes, thanks. Yes, always late,
always
but
late,
not too
always
much late
no,
from our own webinars.
Yeah, it's exciting times, always.
It is.
Yeah.
Welcome to the launch webinar of Varjo Reality Cloud.
The first time I tried streaming through Varjo Reality Cloud was really mind-blowing. Just the fact that the high quality was still preserved and there was no quality loss, even knowing that it was coming from the cloud.
I think what's unique about the Varjo Reality Cloud is that it allows us to expand the VRED usage beyond just the professionals who know how to use that tool.
The collaboration between the Autodesk Fred team and the Varjo team has been very close from the early days, as our visions were always aligned and a natural fit. I think we are enabling something truly awesome by pairing up the most powerful visualization solution and the highest fidelity HMDs on an easy-to-use cloud service. We are democratizing access to this technology.
As we're a global company, we need to enable people to have this multi-continental collaboration. So when we're doing design reviews, being able to jump between Gothenburg, California and China office is really a game changer.
The Varjo Reality Cloud is much easier to jump into the session and start sharing the ideas and the dialogues. In comparison to what it was before, was someone needs to upload file and I have to download the file, make it a couple of clicks and follow the link and I'm already there. Is the biggest achievement what we feel.
That tool is really the link that we have to our global studios. It's one thing to see somebody on a video call, another thing to share a PowerPoint or have some sketches, but to get in and evaluate and walk around a model together, to be able to point, click, say, hey, come over here, this is what I mean, use hand gestures as you would if it was a physical model. When you can do that with somebody sitting 10,000 miles away and you're doing it together, you feel like you're one team.
Using Varjo Reality Cloud is extremely easy, and using VRED for XR is already only a few clicks, but with Varjo Reality Cloud you do not even have to worry about installing VRED or loading a scene or joining a collaboration session anymore. So we are taking the technological uncertainty out of the equation, enabling literally everybody to collaborate with some of the most advanced hardware and software available on the market today.
Volvo has always been at the pioneer of digital tools, and this is the next digital tool that really allows us to have a quicker process, a nimble process, and something now that can include many, many more people with the Reality Cloud from Varjo.
And that sounded pretty good. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here we are, live at Varjo HQ. My name is Jussi Mäkinen. I'm our Chief Brand Officer.
And I'm Urho Konttori, one of the founders and the CTO.
So today we will have a great show. We will talk about the Varjo Reality Cloud. What is it? How does it work? We will see some demos and exciting times for us at Varjo. First service that we are commercially launching.
Absolutely. And we also get a unique perspective into discussing with the Volvo's experts in VR and design side.
Exactly. Let's look at a little bit about the agenda that we have today. So we will start with Urho talking about the Reality Cloud vision, a little bit about the history. Then we have our head of product, Matt, talking about the product. And then really exciting, a little bit peek under the hood to the incredible technology that we have created with our Director of Engineering, Antti. And then we will have a live demo with people from Volvo Cars joining us here in our HQ. And after that one, we will take a look with our designer that how is the UI and UX looking for the Varjo Reality Cloud. And then in the end, we will have a live Q&A. And if you have questions, please add them to the Zoom So there's a Q&A box in Zoom, so we will answer all of those in the end. But let's start a little bit about the history and vision of the Varjo Reality Cloud. So how did we ended up?
So as always, like you have to have a need that you want to solve. And for us, it was quite fundamental. Like we know that always devices that have wires get rid of the wires. Everything that has size gets smaller and better, more power efficient. That's always happening, has been happening, will be happening. And that pushed us to start thinking that while Varjo is about the utmost, like highest possible quality, and can we like really do that on standalone? No, we cannot. Can we port the applications that run on modern PCs, on Windows? Do they just like this start working on standalone devices? No, they won't. And then we started working on, so how should we do it? And this was the question, and the Varjo Reality Cloud is the answer. So moving the compute to the cloud, enabling you to have scalable, almost infinite compute to keep that quality ultra high, stream that to the actual client devices, and then have an incredible experience no matter what kind of headset you have, whether it's today's headsets or tomorrow's sunglasses. Who knows when that's going to arrive? But Varjo Reality Cloud makes it possible to achieve that one.
And I think it was pretty cool. We started at Varjo as like human eye resolution, visual fidelity for VR, for XR, but locally. But now we are able to provide it streaming from the cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think about like the cables that we're connecting to the headsets today, they're running at like 32 gigabits per second for just the video data alone. And crunching that one to go over Wi-Fi is no small task. And that's why it has taken quite a bit of time, great engineering, and I would say quite a lot of tobacco, but of course nobody smokes these days, so it's going to be only coffee powering the engineers.
And energy drinks.
And energy drinks, yes.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. And finally, of course, the photorealistic metaverse.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's what's the end game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like nothing happens in isolation. So while we have been working in the Varjo Reality Cloud, of course, the rest of the industry has been looking into what's going to be the future of the metaverse. Is that going to be like this cartoonish depiction that some companies are providing? Whereas we have been looking all the time that whenever we go to something that needs to be collaborative, needs to be like a product producing something, then it needs to be of the highest possible quality, and the human interaction really needs to be belonging on the photorealistic level. And again, Varjo Reality Cloud makes that possible.
Exactly. And now we will introduce and take in our head of product, Matt, to talk about the product a little bit more deeper with you. So welcome, Matt.
Thank you. So good to have you here, Matt.
Thanks for having me here.
So let's get started by, can you explain who you are and what do you actually do at Varjo? Like, we know that head of product is a title, but what does it actually mean for you?
Hey, sure. I answer a lot of emails, but to be a bit more serious, my name is Matt Zaganov. I'm the head of product. I've been with the company for a few months. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm super excited to talk to you about Reality Cloud.
Yeah, so we've been talking about the Varjo Reality Cloud now on a very high level, but let's get into the practical. So what is the Varjo Reality Cloud and what problem does it solve today to the customers?
Fair question. I think one of the things that I would want people to understand is that cloud and Reality Cloud in this instance is just means to an end. It's our way of running any kind of, in perspective, software in the clouds, on cheaper tech, on cheaper laptop, in a secure way, with as little friction as possible. And in principle, we're starting off with the use case of VRED Autodesk, which is a high-end visualization software, and we're expanding very rapidly from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to start from something which is really difficult not to crack. So automotive designers, they are like the most detail-oriented people on the planet. So we have had this like a model at Varjo that we want to make sure that everything that we do is of the highest possible quality, and making sure with these guys that the image is there, image quality is there, the security is there, has been really important, and it's been a great alpha phase for us.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the friction. So how does the Varjo Reality Cloud really like reduce friction? Like we talk about like, yes, it runs in the cloud, but that kind of sounds like it's the same. But the reality is that it does actually remove a lot of the friction of the usage. So can you talk about that a bit?
I think that's a good question. Cloud sometimes sounds very obscure. And we'll see the better answer to this question later on during the design walkthrough session. But I'd say that in essence, when it comes to, for example, Autodesk VRED, which is this high-end visualization software, you could think of it pretty much as of the Zoom session. The way it works is you go into Variobase, you initialize the session, you invite your friends or co-workers, which could be both, and you click on the session initialization button, wait a little bit, and jump into it. Put in a headset and start reviewing the 3D model of your product. Fairly straightforward, not more complex than adding and inviting your colleagues to Zoom.
Yeah, and I really love the idea that for the people joining in, they don't need to do almost anything whatsoever.
Pretty much.
You always have a host. Like it's the same thing in any kind of meeting. Somebody needs to do the pre-work, but then it's super easy for the rest of us.
Exactly.
So great. So let's talk about like who are actually using this. Like it's easy to start now with the automotive customers. So let's talk a little bit about who are going to be the customers and users of the Varjo Reality Cloud in the automotive. But can you also like take that further and look into how does this actually scale into like outside of the automotive sector?
I can, of course. Well, the answer to the question of who could be the users is a very broad one. So let me give you a few of the examples. First, let's talk a little bit about automotive to expand on that use case. I mean, most of us could imagine the use case of a design review at a big industrial firm, let's say the automotive firm, where a bunch of executives get into a dedicated virtual reality room. They have those noisy $20,000 machines there that are all tied up to the headsets, and then they do the review. Which is the old mode of doing the things. Nowadays, and especially the post-COVID world, you could easily imagine how the executives, or as a matter of fact, anyone who'd want to participate in such a session might want to do the same, but from the comfort of their home. And one very straightforward use case for the Reality Cloud would be doing exactly that. We empower the scenario where anyone might want to join their work virtual reality design review session from the comfort of their home, with a cheaper laptop, not the noisy $20,000 machine. That was one example. I promise you two. I think the second one I was thinking of was that from the area of smaller firms. Let's talk about, for example, architecture firms. Sometimes what they do nowadays more and more often is present in the virtual reality models of whatever they build or whatever they're intending to build. And in this kind of a use case, you will not necessarily have this expensive, huge workstation in the first place. They're just bluntly too expensive for those firms. But you still might have enough budget for a powerful enough laptop. And this is another example of where we empower, in this case, a fairly new use case of someone who previously probably wouldn't have considered some high-end visualization software, but now can.
Yeah, absolutely. Like whatever you do in the cloud, it's possible to quantify those into like a second-based invoicings, where when you're basically reserving things for just a short while. So it certainly has a lot of opportunities on the scale.
Yeah.
And hey, as an anecdote, we were just in a press tour with Jussi, showcasing the Varjo Reality Cloud in the stateside to the press. And boy, I can tell you that it was so much nicer to have like two small lightweight laptops with us than the usual thing when we actually have had like a full desktop PC sometimes with us, which is like incredible when you're like in a rush, you want to get to the airport, you want to actually get to the plane, and somebody in the security is going to be stopping you.
I feel
laptop. Done, so easy. Great. So let's follow this up, because this audience that we're targeting initially is like very, very sensitive when it comes to their data. So security is of the utmost importance. And can you talk a little bit of our approach to the security, as well as, of course, how it actually entails into the overall security of running anything in the cloud to begin with?
Yeah, sure. We're starting off with AWS as our cloud partner of choice, and many would say that they're the best in class. And of course, there's various schools of thoughts when it comes to cloud security, but I think that most of the world is now slowly converging to that, on average, cloud, even public cloud, is more secure than on-prem. I mean, we've all read a lot of stories about someone breaking into physical offices, stealing the servers and things like that. And to this extent, we're going and we're starting off with this more secure, on average, option of the cloud with all of the security assurances and encryptions that by default come with such a great partner as Amazon. Now, to add to that, for our first supported piece of software, Autodesk VRED, we're of course also using all of their usual encryption protocols. And to add to that, when it comes to the mode of work with the files, we've started off with a so-called transient approach to asset management, what in simple terms means that we don't really hoard on the files. For the more security-conscious customers, we only temporarily upload their files to the cloud. During the actual session, during the runtime, we as Varjo do not have access to the files, and at the end of the session, we automatically delete the file, which as an approach resonated really well with some of the security-conscious customers. Yeah. Of course, we're going to expand, we're going to add more modes of asset management, but as you said, many of the customers are very security-conscious, and we wanted to be mindful of that in the beginning.
Excellent. So, great. There is a way finally to run the applications in the cloud. It's going to be super easy to use, great value. What does it cost? And can you actually buy it today?
Yeah.
Can you buy it in a box?
You can buy it today. It works as a service from out of the box. The basic subscription we're starting off costs 14.95 euros per 5 concurrent users in Europe. And I think what's important to note here is that everything around the service is included in that. We're seeing that as a SaaS, as a typical SaaS. So we're going to keep adding more services and more value to the base subscription.
Yeah, I think it's like a spectacular value for certain. So then let's look at we have been talking a lot about the VRED. So on this slide, we of course have Unity and Unreal, but can you talk a little bit what's going to be coming next? Running first on the Varjo headsets and the VRED, what's going to be out there during the rest of the year and forward?
I love this question. We do have a lot of things planned on both the software side and the hardware side. When it comes to software, of course, we're starting with VRED very shortly. I can't tell the exact date, but very shortly we're going to be adding in one of the next updates the support for Unity and Unreal executables. And then going off from there, we're going to add more and more of the user enterprise pieces of software. Can't tell you the names right now, but we're thinking of the usual suspects in the area of CAD software, modeling software, design software. When it comes to hardware, of course, we're starting off with our headsets, and we're going to expand to 2D surfaces like tablets and computers, and some of the other headsets as well.
Excellent, so exciting. But hey, now let's do a proper walkthrough of what's actually happening inside the Varjo Reality Cloud, because the clouds are so nebulous concepts. We have Antti Peukkurinen, the Director of Engineering here, to help us make that super concrete so that you all can make really tough questions for us at the end of the session. So with that, Antti, please welcome to the stage and have a good run.
Hi, Matt.
Hello, Antti. Very good to have you here with me. Shall we talk about technology?
Definitely.
Cool. I mean, we've spoken a little bit about what the Reality Cloud is, who's it for, how it works. But we have worked, and your team has worked on a lot of microservices and services that run silently in the backend and deliver a lot of value, but are not necessarily always visible to the actual customers.
Yep.
What are they?
Yep. So I think first of all, I want to thank the whole team, because we have worked on this very many months, long days. So great work from everybody who was involved, and now it's out finally. So we can celebrate probably a bit after this. So,
we should.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to business. So if think about the Varjo Reality Cloud, I think in the core, of this is the built-in fleet management. So you cannot have like a real service which is turnkey if you don't have fleet management given as ready solution for the customers. And first in there, which is super important, is the scalability. So there's basically four points I'm going to go through now. And first of all, like scalability, that's super important. So for the customers, they don't need to care do they have like 10 or 100 servers when they use our solution. So it's scalable. Basically, we can scale easily to hundreds of users. And it's just basically a number what the customer needs to know we can provide. Then the second one is the security and privacy. So we have many security conscious customers. I would even say paranoid in a good way. So like we have worked with them, and I think we have got the basics right. So all the like let's say tight bits have been now done with industry standard methods. So basically when you're having a session, it's fully isolated from everybody else, and then basically all the connections are secure and everything is wiped after the session from the cloud, so nothing is left. And only basically our admin can, in some worst cases, probably like help on the topics related to the sessions and see what's going wrong. Then, yeah.
Do we actually have access to any of the files ourselves?
Yeah, not really. So it's like really like industry standard methods. Everything is encrypted with session-specific keys. So we cannot basically see into the sessions at all. And we cannot see basically what the customers are doing in the sessions. Yeah, then third point is the latency. So I think it comes also from the fleet. So we have now regions all over the globe. So basically when you start a session with Varjo Reality Cloud, you can always get a session next to you, and this minimizes the latency. So I think everybody who is familiar with the virtual reality is also familiar with the latency, even with the local setups. And you can just imagine that when you use this over the network, then of course you get some extra latency. But because we have this global fleet, you can always get the sessions next to you. So we minimize basically this latency from the network to absolute minimum, what you can have currently.
Whereabouts do we have the services now, the servers now?
Yeah, so currently we are on US West, US East, and EU West. So, and we are, of course, in future like enlarging our fleet.
Right. I probably chip in here with another anecdote. In addition to all the technical details, just a few days ago, I got to run a demo from off an iPhone, just tap the internet from there. And although the quality was probably lower than what I would have wanted, it worked. Yeah. So 5G is actually nice technology if thinking like wireless things in the future. Then, yeah, the latest is the GPU power. So it's not just the pure power of the GPU, but actually the thing that like when you use Varjo Reality Cloud, automatically you will get the latest GPU. So you don't need to upgrade the local PCs anymore. The same local PC, which can be really light, is just driving the headset basically now, and then the real rendering and the computing happens in the cloud with the latest GPU power. So that's like a super good thing to have. So you don't need to actually like maintain the local PCs that often, or maybe not at all in the future. And you always have the latest GPU power in use when you use Varjo Reality Cloud. Nice.
Yep.
And thank you for giving voiceover to that. I mean, apart from the backend software services, one of the things that we pride ourselves in at Varjo is the superior quality of hardware of the headsets. And the headsets, as some of our viewers might know, support some of the very forefront hardware features like foveated rendering. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit to what of those cool hardware features and to what extent are supported in the cloud.
Yeah, I think roughly like 5-6 years ago, we surprised the world with the human eye resolution headset. So that's something which is still a miracle. Then we have been adding software features like foveated rendering, which basically optimizes the performance. So you can have larger scenes, like more features, etc., and like higher performance and higher FPS with our human resolution headsets. So we have had that earlier. Now we have introduced this new Varjo Reality Cloud with actually foveated rendering happening over the IP. So we have foveated transport actually happening, which is like a technological miracle and really novel thing to have. And in here, basically, normally you can think about the local bandwidths being in gigabytes. So we can actually squeeze this to megabytes when we are transporting this over the IP. And that actually makes possible the 5G, what you were experiencing. And then to preserve the visual quality, of course, we need to do some black magic and basically convert and compress and do the black magic needed, that we get the same perceived visual quality to the headsets for the users.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice. In the mixed reality modes, without going into too much details, can I actually see my hands, which I think doesn't work on all of the headsets?
Yeah, so you can see hands. So yeah, XR3 can be used with the Varjo.
So hand occlusion works.
Yep.
Very right. I mean, we spoke a little bit about the apps, the first software pieces that we're starting off from, like Autodesk VRED, then Unity and Unreal. But that's a fairly limited universe. To what extent can we support apps, generally speaking?
Yeah, so in the beginning, we were thinking that could we somehow make optimized builds from the applications for the cloud? Yes, maybe we could in some cases, but I think to make this easier for the companies and application developers, we want to have the same applications, exact same executables and binaries usable from the cloud. And currently we support the same APIs actually, technologically, what we have locally. So we have the Varjo API, we have the OpenXR, and we have the OpenVR API supported at our server runtime. So basically in the future, you can imagine anything which is running now locally can be also run in Varjo Reality Cloud. So this is easing up basically the move to the cloud with the current applications.
So basically any Windows application in the cloud in the near future.
Yeah, so maybe in our labs this is already happening, but yeah, in the near future, yeah.
Who knows? No, that's a good one. Cloud is a fairly obscure thing. Even when we talk internally, we occasionally mean different things when we say cloud. And even when it comes to AWS, they do have several types of instances you could use. Which one did our team choose for the Reality Cloud as a product?
Yeah, of course, we want the best, and thanks to NVIDIA, also the most beautiful GPUs. So we are partnering with Amazon and NVIDIA currently, and of course, NVIDIA has now the new Ampere, and that's also available from Varjo Reality Cloud. So the A10 with the G5 instances from Amazon, and what a beautiful GPU. So I think this is even better looking maybe than the local one. So really beautiful GPU to have, and then this makes it possible with the really light laptop to run our Gen 3 headsets, like XR3, and then you still get the basically the RTX 3080 power, which is the desktop RTX. So you still get the same performance with your applications. So you can have really light laptop, like even 100 watts or less GPU power there, but you still get this desktop GPU power. So that's like a miracle, yeah.
Nice.
Nice GPU, yeah.
Nice, nice. And let's not talk about G4. That's mum's the word, not yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, thank you for this technical section. I think that was both very entertaining and very informative. I enjoyed it.
It was amazing. Hey, thanks so much, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Miracles in the making. Stay here. So next, we will have something really cool. So we will go into a live demo. So follow me, please. Okay, follow me. We are going to Varjo Reality Lounge, just next door. And there we have our special guest stars from Volvo. Hey guys, how are you?
Hey. Hey, good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And welcome to Varjo. So now it's time to have a live demo of streaming Volvo C40 through Varjo Reality Cloud using Autodesk VRED. But first, short introductions.
Yeah, hi guys, my name is Salyosha and I'm working as an XR lead at the innovation arena at Volvo Cars, and this is my colleague Timmy.
Hi, I'm Timmy Guerrero. I'm innovation leader working with emerging tech at Volvo Cars.
Really good to have you guys here. So, Timmy, can you talk to us a little bit? How come Volvo is again at the forefront of the digital transformation with the Varjo Reality Cloud?
Yeah, as we are growing as a company more and more and transitioning from being like a traditional automaker to be a mobility provider and a tech company, We expanded our offices, so we have presence in China, in Sweden, in Gothenburg, and in California, where we have both a tech office and a design office. And Corona has shown us that it's not enough to be on Teams or Zoom to be able to build a car. We have such a complex product, and to be able to collaborate fully, we needed to actually test the different technologies and see, okay, how can we democratize all this for everyone, like designers, engineers, and being able to be part of the experience of designing, reviewing, and researching everything around and with the car.
Yeah, really good. So something good came out of COVID for once. But hey, so this is all about demos. So let's get started with those. So Alyosha, if you can take the headset on and take the role of a designer in this session, as you're definitely the closest to it of us participating here, while I'm taking the role of an engineer. So you concentrating on the content and me helping you guide through the process. While Alyosha is putting the headset on, I'll just quickly explain the setup what we have here. So Varjo Reality Cloud is streaming from Ireland to Helsinki, which are pretty much the furthest 2 points in Europe you can possibly have for the light to travel, especially due to the undersea links that need to be connected between these two locations. So this is essentially the setup that our software developers use in the development process so that they do the most difficult setup, make sure that that's running butter smooth all the time. And then in any ordinary installation of Varjo Reality Cloud, you always have much closer link, much lower latency, which is kind of interesting that you cannot actually perceive that latency at all. So we have been able to get rid of the distance in many ways, but you still have certain cases where it does matter.
So, hey, Alyosha, can you tell us the first time, a little bit of your experience, the first time that you tried streaming through Varjo Reality Cloud?
Yeah, of course. I remember that moment really well. Some months back in Gothenburg at Volvo. And yeah, first time I put that headset on and looking at the Volvo car, I thought like actually this is rendered and computed right in the place where I am. So I couldn't believe that this is coming all via cloud. So there's no latency that you can feel and you get the all, advantages of a Varjo headset. So you have the full human eye resolution, you get all the nice reflections, which is you can see here, like reflecting the real environment here. So this was really a great moment to experience this all streamed via cloud actually.
Yeah, and of course, like what we have been talking about, the removal of the friction is also present here. So you basically put the headset on, you're looking at the model, while I'm simultaneously in control of the full software. So we can change colors, as you would definitely want to do when you're reviewing a model, looking at the whole palette of that particular year that you're going to be rolling out, or just the more difficult colors that expose shapes of the cars perfectly. The reflections coming from this room, so reflecting the room perfectly, of course, super crucial for the car design, of course.
Hey, Timi, you've been now using the Varjo Reality Cloud a little bit at Volvo. So can you describe a little of the kind of like the friction or the challenges that you had when using VR or XR earlier? Because Volvo is recognized the innovation leader in the field. So can you tell us a little bit about those challenges and how you have overcome them with the Reality Cloud?
Yeah, as we are starting to accelerate the use of VR and XR for the past few years, we actually saw that actually added also a bit of overhead because we had a few bottlenecks. First, the access to the technology itself, the headsets, and then the need and actually, being able to motivate the management and finance that, hey, we need these crazy computers. They're not the usual ones we order from IT. We need special graphic cards. And I think with the Reality Cloud, one of the biggest things that we managed to overcome is this extra flexibility. I mean, we already had flexibility with working with VR and AR and mixed reality in general, but now the flexibility we have in the fact that we don't need to be in that specific location, that room where we have the computers, and also we don't need to have like so many operators around the technology. And with Reality Cloud, one click and then it's simple now.
Yeah.
That's great to hear, because simplicity has definitely been one of the main design drivers for us with the Reality Cloud.
And as a one click, like, of course, like a design is all about collaboration. So in there, you cannot necessarily be always in the same place as we are today, like in this mixed reality surrounding. So let's take a jump into VR, into Gothenburg, and look how the same car model looks over there. So Alyosha, this is like a much more familiar scene for you. So can you walk us through what we're seeing in here and how that matters to the car design process?
Yeah, feels like home. This is actually the design showroom at the Volvo headquarters in Gothenburg. And yeah, as said before, like we are also able to see this car now in this virtual design showroom. And also we can evaluate, for example, the lights that we have in the design showroom virtually on the same car that we've seen before here in Helsinki, standing here in the Reality Lounge. And yeah, I mean, one point, for example, is the accuracy of materials. So it's very important for us to see how the lights reflect in the car surfaces, in the car paint. And as we can see here, yeah, we see all the lights here from the top of the design showroom reflecting really nice, really accurately in the car paint material. And this combined with a human eye resolution of the headset give us a really, really powerful tool for design reviews and evaluations.
Yeah, and of course, this could be collaborative. So we could have multiple people in here doing the session together. And with the Varjo Reality Cloud, all you need to get more people in is basically just send them a link and they click it and boom, you're there with the guys. So it's the like a removal of like ultimate removal of the friction from joining in. Same as joining a Zoom call is now possible to join in a totally immersive setting in photorealistic, like ultra high quality VR or mixed reality.
Absolutely, and actually that's a really good segue. So next we will take a deep dive into the user interface of the Varjo Reality Cloud. So how does it look like? How does it feel to use, and how simple is it to operate? So hey, big thanks Timi,
Thank you.
Alyosha, big thanks for being here. We will definitely continue tonight at the Varjo HQ, but before that one, we will take a deep dive to the UX. So big thanks, and see you a bit later. Okay, so now we have seen how the Volvo demo of streaming V-Red through the Varjo Reality Cloud works, and it looks amazing. And now we will have a deep dive into the UI and the user experience of the Varjo Reality Cloud. How do you start a session? How do you join a session? And how it's super simple and easy to do. So here I'm joined by Sanna from our design. Sanna.
Hi, I'm Sanna, lead service designer working with Varjo Reality Cloud. And we're going to go through the main flows of our service, creating a collaboration session and joining the session.
Nice. And really the vision for Varjo Reality Cloud from the very beginning was to make it super simple, the most powerful, of course, VR, XR collaboration tool ever made. But how did we achieve the simplicity? What was the kind of like the starting of that kind of process?
Well, we know that many of our users and customers are industry professionals with demanding daily jobs and tasks, and our aim is to simplify the complex workflows, and we do that with a human-centric approach, meaning that we really want to understand what they are trying to achieve, what our customers are trying to achieve, where's the pain points and the possibilities, and through that we can create the most simple solutions for everyday use. And we also design for low cognitive load and high usability.
Cool. So I think now we will next have a demo. How does the UI flow go? So yeah, please.
Yeah, let's go through the creating session first. So this is a Figma prototype tool. And here we start from Varjo Base, a base software for our using our products and services.
Right.
And
so we have a new button here, basically, for the Varjo Reality Cloud.
we have a new button, and by clicking that button, you have the Varjo Reality Cloud window. And we create the session with the click. We have an organization where I belong to, my team or other group of people. We have a session name. Let's give a team review for concept A. Let's choose then a file for what we want to work on, like this, and invite some colleagues to join.
Jamie,
Christopher, and Helen, and Alexander.
Yeah, and it was super easy. Like it was just like joining a Teams call or a Zoom. So just clicking names, and then next you create it.
Next we created, and
now it uploaded the file. Went quite fast. And is it now ready? Was that all?
Yeah, that's all. Then we can start, and we can see that our colleagues are already joining. So we better put on our headsets and start working.
Nice. Well, that was pretty simple. Well done. So how about if this was about like creating a session and inviting others? How does it go when you're just being invited? So you are the one who is participating or joining a session.
Yeah, that's even more simpler. So we start again from Varjo Base, and with clicking Varjo Reality Cloud button, we can see that there's already a session ongoing. It has started, and it has our colleagues that have already joined, and I should join too, and then we're in.
So basically just one click.
Yeah, one click.
Nice. That one click is pretty low cognitive load, so
I agree. Yeah.
should be quite usable. But you know, like I said, I think this is exactly what was needed. Super simple, very easy to use. Couple of clicks, or just like in this case, joining a session just with one click. Congratulations! I think it's amazing.
Agreed. You
Super.
too.
Yeah. Very exciting. And thanks, Anna. This was great. Now we know how it's simple, how easy it is to use. And now next we will go into our Q&A session back in the atrium.
Okay, so welcome back to the atrium, and we have the perfect panel now to answer your questions. So starting from Matt on the product, Antti on the actual technology, and Timi on everything related to automotive or the future of VR. And we start with chronological order, so those who actually were mindful and sent the questions first, get them answered first as well. We start with easy one for Antti. What download and upload speeds are recommended? For example, minimum and up to.
Yeah. So download speed. When you're using VR content, I think it's averaging to 35 megabits per second, what you need to have as a download speed. And then if thinking the upload, I think it's less than a megabyte with normal VR content. And then, if thinking the XR, and some kind of noisier texturing conditions, maybe it can go even up to 50 megabytes per second, what you need for the download. But yeah, megabits, yeah. So 35 megabits per second, I would say download speed is good. Yeah. Then no package drops or good network conditions.
Yeah. Okay, so can you talk about CDN, so Content Delivery Network? Are you doing object streaming, or is this screen sharing? Are you using an outsourced CDN like Akamai or something you built? I think we addressed this one. We're using AWS and their Elastic Cloud network. So it's slightly different than CDNs typically are. So then let's go to Matt. No, Antti still. How do you deal with security, especially IP protection? I suppose this is packet level.
Yeah, so we basically use industry standard methods, actually ASGCM for the transport itself, and then of course HTTPS in like some other control channels. So everything there is like secure. And then if thinking the session isolation, Amazon provides us technologies what we are using, so they are like rock solid. So you will have like industry de facto methods in use, and then in that sense very secure solution what we have now provided.
Okay, then we go to Matt. So can Reality Cloud be used for other wearables similar to an OpenXR concept? I do think he's talking about Cloud XR though. So Cloud XR is NVIDIA's VR streaming technology. So please, Matt.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a great question. We do get asked a lot about Cloud XR, usually in the context of shall we use you or shall we use Cloud XR? I think that the answer depends on the particular circumstances. What's important to highlight here is that we, the Reality Cloud, already provide a ready-to-use service. You install it and you start using it. And Cloud XR is first and foremost an SDK. There's a lot of things that you could do with it, but you usually need a small team or not so small team of software developers and quite a lot of time to do whatever you want to do.
Excellent. Thank you. So, Antti, what is the spec for the laptop? Windows or MacBook Pro? So you wrote the spec, so you answer it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say like no MacBooks yet. Hopefully in the future, Windows laptop, and then I think for the VR content, like you need to have like 3060 ampere, and then for the XR content, 3070 card. So quite low spec GPU, like needed only. Yep.
Excellent. So then to Matt, does Reality Cloud support persistent spatial anchors?
That is actually a very interesting question. I'd be very curious, and please feel free to DM me on LinkedIn in the particular use case for why the person was asking specifically about the persistent spatial anchors, which is tracking of the position of whatever based on the image. We're always open to feedback, and we're open to incorporating new items if there's a good enough use case onto our roadmap. At this point, we have mostly seen requests for the physical anchor, so to say, for example, various pucks mounted on tools for the training purposes. And that one we're fully aware of, and it's going to come out later on. And for the persistent spatial anchors, please DM me.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. Then we have a question on the inside-out tracking. Is it improved for the cloud mode? Taking base stations needs to go. So obviously base stations do require you to do a bit of setup, and inside-out tracking is of course available on the XR3 in the beta mode at the moment. It works for some of the people really well. For others, it's not prime time ready yet. This is why we call it beta. So of course, stay tuned on the improvements on that one. As you can imagine, it's one of the things that we're very actively working on as a company, and we do see, like you, as a very important thing also in the future. Good. Then going to Antti. Hi. Will keyboard and mouse inputs be sent to the cloud to support native 2D applications with VR capabilities?
I would say like soon. So I think this is on the roadmap. Maybe Matt knows more from that one. But like, yeah, definitely like thinking like if we have VR experiences or VR applications, usually keyboard shortcuts are there. So I think we want to support those definitely.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, we have been internally using it, but taking something to product level is different than having a prototype of it. So good. Thank you. Then we have a question for Matt. Is support for WebXR and WebVR development tools available or planned? Also, do Varjo HMD support WebXR browsers? And if so, which?
I'd probably redirect that one to Antti back again.
Yeah, so if thinking about the WebXR runtimes, I think technically maybe easy to get in, but again, what Urho mentioned earlier, so I think this might be in the roadmap sooner or later, but currently like not supported like in our product level.
Yeah, our headsets themselves support Chrome as the platform of choice for running web VR and web XR. But so far we haven't gotten the traction to, or the ask that strongly to make that happen in real. So if you do, contact Matt, I suppose is the perfect person. So we do support, first and foremost, our customers and their use cases. So then goes to Antti. Does Reality Cloud support mixed reality display of multiple 3D 6DoF models concurrently?
Yeah, if thinking 6DoF data and models, so I think near future we want to go and support like Unity and Unreal on product level. So I think there, if you have an engine, of course, like, and if you have 3D data, it's possible to do like a mixed reality experience and with the 3D models from that data. Yeah. If I got the question right, and if I didn't, like, please DM me so I can answer more detail.
So then we'll actually skip one question and then go to, is volumetric video supported? And I think it's very similar answer, so maybe you finish that.
Yeah, so yeah, I think again, if some engine can run such format like Unity or Unreal, yeah, support most likely will come first from there. Maybe later on in some other ways also, but that comes to my mind.
Okay, then we go to, can you use AWS's Sumerian, which is a WebXR-based framework? So I suppose this leads to the same question. Please contact Matt about your exact use case, and then we can prioritize the support for the WebXR maybe in the future. Then we have a question, no other apps besides Red work with platform yet. My office uses Fuser for real-time collaboration in virtual environment. Will Fuser work? I suppose, Matt, you can take that one, as it's a high-level question.
Yeah, you know, circling back to what we've been discussing with Antti in the technical section of the Q&A, our vision is to make any Windows application executable, so to say, in Varjo Reality Cloud. Don't have support for that particular one right now. Slightly generic answer, but please DM me with some of the details of your use case. We are super attentive, and we do base our roadmap on the back of what our customers are requesting of us. Fuser per se probably wasn't so far in the top of the things that were requested, but it all could change.
Okay, good, thanks. Then on which hardware does the cloud work? Can you connect the Varjo XR3 or Varjo Aero to any lightweight device, or is a dedicated GPU or USB connection needed? I suppose it would be natural for you to take that, Matt.
Yeah, you could use Aero, you could use XR3. You can't connect them per se to any laptop at this point. We do have already the system requirements to the supported computers, desktops, laptops published on the website, so please check those out. And then, as mentioned, going forward, in addition to Aero and XR3, we're going to be adding more headsets, more 2D surfaces, et cetera, et cetera. What I can say without going into the details of the technical requirements right now is that if you're familiar with our standard recommended technical requirements for XR3 and for Aero, they are lower now if you use VRC.
Excellent, thank you. Then to Timmy. What is the FPS that the Volvo guys are experiencing in the video? So the actual thing.
Yeah, I mean, on the setup we were running, we are having an average of 45 frames per second. It can go up to 50, but 45.
Yeah, and of course, this is now running like a real production data set from Volvo, so not something like optimized for a demo purpose or something like that, actual real deal. So like great work from Autodesk for making Red be able to like digest full car models as they are and turn them into real-time running with like incredible fidelity. So a tip to these guys.
To add to this, to the question about FPS, which is one of the more frequently asked questions, again, if you check the system requirements, the recommended system requirements on our website, you would see a certain enumeration of GPUs and CPUs. And the way we've been putting those together and the way we've been verifying those was by running a series of our usual demos on FPS up to 90. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that probably in the more model environment, although sometimes it's not really that pertinent to a particular use case to have 90 FPS instead of 50, but in the more modal requirements with the recommended user specs, you could expect even higher FPS.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of like VR optimized things actually run nicely at 90 frames per second. I think it's still also important to address that we also do late latching and very advanced time warping on the like a laptop and headset side, which makes it so that you get still like a fully constant smooth experience, even if it would drop to 30 frames per second, or I've been running 15 frames per second some of the apps, just so that you get like enough time to do like real-time ray tracing and these sort of things. So the late latching helps a lot on that one. Then we have a question on how does the streamed reflections work? Do each user get unique reflection map based on their environment? I could maybe address this first on the demo side, and then we can continue with Matt on the product roadmap side. So on the red, you don't have support for Varjo's API that gets the reflection map live from the surroundings. So what we did is that we used a Ricoh Theta camera to take a 360 photo and added that as the reflection map in this case. So very typical setting in a design is that you have like static environments, and this is super easy to do for that one. Now looking into what we have been offering for quite some time on the Varjo's XR APIs is that you get the same reflection map that the headset generates in real time. And that makes it possible for you to see reflections actually updating when people walk around the car and these sort of things. It's great, not yet supported by the red, and not quite yet supported by the Varjo Reality Cloud either, because we do these in steps, and the red is this step. But how does that going to be in the future?
That's a great question, Urho. I wonder whether it was you who submitted this question.
I did not.
Loving the advanced mixed reality features, but I still think it's a great question. One of the things that we've done super well as a company when it comes to the kind of the on-prem setup of the headset and the computer is a lot of those advanced mixed reality features. And we want to retain the same spirit for the cloud product as well. Now, when it comes to many of the commercial industrial design applications, some of the things like some of the finesse of reflection or some of the advanced mixed reality stuff like the skeletal hand recognition are a bit less of a blocker when it comes to the commercial side of things. But still, it's one of the things that we do super well, and we did super well for the on-prem setup, and we want to retain the same spirit of the company also when it comes to technology, when it comes to the cloud side of things. Fun fact for everyone, Varjo in Finnish means shadow. That's where it all started from, and I think that would be a good focal point for any technology and feature development.
Absolutely. It's nice to be able to create shadows, so black in light. So then maybe you can take this, Antti. Now that the app runs in the cloud, will we be able to use Mac as the client and Varjo hardware driving client?
Technically, I think we are close to it already, but not yet.
Yeah.
I can personally add to this that I'm using one of the MacBooks as a glorified typewriter, and I have a separate laptop for demos and dog fooding just by personal preferences, and I would love to see us support some form of virtual machines and MacBooks.
Many of us are Mac lovers, so we do look at that question very fondly, but nothing to announce today. Does the Varjo Reality Cloud platform support multiplayer, maybe for Antti, or is that something that the application running in the cloud would have to facilitate?
Yeah, so I think there's two ways to do the multiplayer. So Fred actually uses its own this kind of server client architecture inside a private network what we have in Amazon. So nothing gets out from that private network. So it's super secure solution because of the assets being in the sessions. But then if you think about Unreal and Unity and multiplayer in those, where the central server actually basically synchronizing the clients would be existing. In usually if you play a multiplayer game, for example, that happens. So of course, then this could be also one way to do the multiplayer when we have the Unity and Unreal supported. And then, of course, we will be looking in the future at how we actually do this. And most likely we want to enable the multiplayer, which is having the servers outside of the Varjo Reality Cloud synchronizing the players.
Excellent, thanks. Then to Matt, how many people can join session at once together with the basic subscription?
Yeah, that's a great question. So to reiterate a little bit, with the basic subscription we're starting off from, which in the European region costs 495 euros per month per 5 concurrent users. It's going to infer from this, there's 5 users who could join sessions concurrently. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot have more of the users within the organization. Just by way of example, if you buy 2 licenses, you'd be able to have 10 users. Now, just to have everything worked through in steps, we have still limited the number of users per session for right now to just 5. But that's less of a technical constraint and more of an interim decision, and we're likely going to raise that. So nothing stops you from buying licenses for more users. And obviously, one of the main conceptually use cases for the Reality Cloud is the shared sessions. And many of the applications, without going into details, specifically the training applications, sometimes imply dozens or hundreds of users. And that's what eventually we're intended to support as well.
Okay, so we, by the way, have so many questions. I'm going to be speeding up some of these. Is this using a new codec optimized for VR to get to 1 to 1000 compression ratio and mitigating for head rotation latency with late time warp? Absolutely, Varjo in-house built, Varjo patented, utilizing the eye tracking. It's a novel, fantastic system. What are the round white posts in the room? They're for decoration. First of all, you guys are awesome. Congrats. Congrats to you guys. Then we have repetition of the configuration. Is it possible to create our own virtual/mixed reality tools to use in Varjo Cloud? I'm doing research into collaboration, so this would be perfect. So Matt, you take it.
Well, conceptually, yes. Antti gave a little bit of a voiceover to the APIs that we support or will be supporting, and the intention is to make this platform any platform, any executable platform. So I'd say that in the future, certainly yes. And my usual favorite part of the answer, please DM me on LinkedIn with details. I mean it. I love getting direct user feedback or requests.
Excellent, thank you. Does head movement in VR get processed in the cloud or locally? Concerned about latency causing motion sickness or just generally delays? Yes, and it's actually possible with our debugging tools to disable that one, and it's horrible. So especially with this, like Ireland running the setup, it's so long latency chain that yes, it does get nauseating, but the late latching removes that completely. So it's a fundamentally must-do thing. When you think about like time warping, late latching is being done on local rendering as well. So it's exactly the same, but worse. Like as a requirement. Can you share entire XR applications, or is the aim model for a single CAD file reviews? So maybe Antti, you take that one.
I think, if sharing entire applications, so if you're talking that we are sharing Unreal and Unity applications and running those, near future, and then I think like currently the CAD file review. So currently we have the red and basically the asset opened by the red in the cloud in use, but yes.
Startups focus on things, and we focus in the very beginning on this red, and now we expand, land and expand. Can we use animations within shared 3D models? Thanks.
Yes.
Yes, you absolutely can, both in Red as well as then in Unity and Unreal in the future, or other packages as well. They all support animations. How soon will you support Autodesk Revit, Inventor, and Fusion 360 3D models?
I think with some formatting might be now possible already.
I think you can like step files are digested directly with the bread, so absolutely you can use those already. But then going ahead, then your mileage may vary with the other software solutions in the future. Excellent. Then can also other VR goggles than Varjo be used in Varjo Reality Cloud? Matt, you take that one.
That's the intention. As Urho said, we're a startup. We're laser focused on some of the most important things. So we've begun with supporting our own headsets, but we absolutely acknowledge that when it comes to both the pieces of software, the 3D assets, and the hardware surfaces, be it the HMDs or the computers, our clients normally want one platform to manage them all, and we're going to keep adding more of the services, including some of the, well, it's a little bit frightening to say, some of the competitors' headsets.
Then we have a question that I'd like to take. My dream setup would be a phone with a 5G tethering and a headset. When will this be possible? As it happens, I have been spending incredible amount of time in the Ericsson's 5G labs in Sweden recently. So it's definitely one of the things that we also feel very passionately. 5G solves so many questions that 4G left out on the table. So it's very exciting, and I can't also wait for that to happen. Then. Is there a software interface that would allow architects to work on architectural drawings collaboratively that would produce a final document? So which one of you wants to take it?
Yeah, I think even Red could be partially used for that. I would say so, if it's just about the model. So even the current solution can use actually like any kind of model if it's just formatted for Red. So that would be one way. And of course, if thinking some architecture-specific softwares like maybe Rhinoceros, something similar, maybe in the future. But I think Red, just by formatting the model for to be Red compatible, even now it's possible to actually have the multi-user session.
It is. It is absolutely. And then our architects tend to be using Enscape and Twinmotion as their like tools of choice. Great tools, maybe in the future in Varjo Reality Cloud as well, but no promises. We do want to like sometimes over-optimize the workflow. So softwares like this are best served with additional work than just putting it to run. Jerome is asking, where did Matt leave his shoes? More seriously, is supporting head-mounted displays other than Varjo still on the roadmap? Ideally standalone like Quest 2 or Neo 3. So Matt, you take it. You know your shoes better.
Yeah, sure. So many of us have left our shoes at the entrance to the office. That's part of the quirky office culture. It's warm enough here, and weirdly enough, when you get used to that, it's actually quite pleasant. Now, on the other head-mounted headsets, we're going to support more of them. I'm not going to comment now on the particular brands, but we're certainly going to support more of them.
Okay, excellent. Please repeat the base subscription cost is a question. So can you repeat it?
For the European region, which I believe most of our participants are from right now, it's 495 euros per 5 concurrent users per month.
Excellent. Okay, probably a stupid question, but how do you see other users in a multi-user environment? Do you have avatars? Maybe you could take it, Timmy. You have been also using the bread, so comment, how do you actually appear there?
Yeah, I mean, depends on the software, but in Red, it comes with standalone avatars provided by Autodesk. So, I mean, it's good and immersive enough to know where people are, where they're looking at, which part of the vehicle or the 3D object. So, yeah.
Excellent.
And can I add to that?
Go ahead.
I mean, VRC Reality Cloud also supports our XR3, the mixed reality see-through headset. The important thing to say about this is that you actually see what's going on around you. And in this instance, if you're collocated in one space, naturally, you would see the actual colleagues of yours.
Excellent, thanks. Then to Antti, can AR objects tuck behind real ones? Occlusion.
Yeah, so occlusion currently not supported, but I think, again, this goes to Matt and to the roadmap. So how we will get the depth right, I think takes some time with the cloud to be on the same level as we have now the occlusion happening locally. So yeah, I think near future.
Yeah. Basic hand occlusion though is already supported. I think that's important to say.
It was about the hand.
No, it was about the objects generally speaking.
Yeah,
but in my mind, hand is also one of the physical objects.
It's like a depth-based occlusion. Then to Matt, do you have a timeline on your support for Unreal Engine? Somebody making tough questions.
Hey, no, that's an easy question. I do have a timeline. I cannot share the exact date with you right now, but I can reiterate that you should expect the Unity and Unreal support very soon. Incredibly likely in one of the next public updates of the Varjo-based software.
Okay, then we go to Volvo specific. Does Volvo already implemented this technology? If this is the case, what were the reactions?
Yeah, we've been trying it out between our offices. We have the office in California and in Gothenburg, Sweden. So there, I think like the reaction was really positive, especially that people want plug and play. Like you have the executives, the managers. We don't want extra people involved and extra cables and computers. So I think it was really positive. And now even more departments are asking, like manufacturing, R&D, is like, when can we use it in our case? But for that, I think we'll need to wait for Unity and Unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good. Then we have a question for Matt. Is eye tracking available in the cloud?
I'm going to forward this one to Antti.
Yeah, so if you think about the eye tracking, it happens locally. And it's like the core part of this forwarded transport and rendering we discussed earlier. So yes, it's included in this Varjo Reality Cloud, but the tracking itself, of course, happens locally, and then we move this information for the application to use to the cloud.
Excellent.
Okay, sorry, I need to stop.
Yeah, really
I think
good
we're
questions.
10 minutes over. I think there are tons of great questions. At this moment, big thanks, Timmy. Big thanks, Urho, Antti, Matt, everybody. And just a reminder, so if you want to see Varjo Reality Cloud live, hopefully see you at the Augmented World Expo. It's going to be an amazing show. So that would be the place. And also, if you're interested to get your software working through Varjo Reality Cloud, leave a message through our website, so varjo.com/therealitycloud, and that's the right place to let us know about your interest. But with that one, thank you so much for joining. We are super excited to start a new era with the Varjo Reality Cloud, and hopefully catch you guys on the next one very soon. Thanks. And see you later.
One more thing. I'll answer the remaining questions in LinkedIn tomorrow, so you'll be able to get your questions answered.
Excellent. With that one, thank you so much. We continue the party here.
Yep.
Bye.
Excellent. Or start the party.